Well, just wanted to give you an update on everything that's been happening at Forgotten Genre Productions. We've been quite busy in the last couple months. Just yesterday, we released a new project by Leah Weigel, her Dreamer album. It's really kind of like an EP, a demo, but turned out great. Artwork was done by Shannon and the packaging was done at Shannon at Fortress Audio. He did a great job. It's a fun project. Lee is a talented girl. She's 16 years old. Well, I guess she was 16 when she started the project, but writes her own songs and sings, and it was a fun project to work on. We also have we finished some drum sessions last week for a project that Yolanda Mott is working on. That was a lot of fun. Nate Kaywood came in and played the drums. We got some great tracks, and we'll be mixing some of that in the upcoming weeks. I've also been teaching out at Lancaster Bible College. I picked up a class at the last minute for somebody, and there might be a possibility of some more of that going on. That's exciting. I always enjoy teaching. We've also done some meetings with the Lancaster Recording Group, which is a fun group that's just a bunch of, it's an informal group for people that want to learn more about recording and learn who's recording in Lancaster. And that's been a fun thing to do, to meet other people and come into the studio and work on some other projects. We have a meeting coming up November 13th. If you're interested, please contact me. You're welcome to see what's happening in the recording world. The biggest update that we have going on is the changes at the studio. Unfortunately, our time here at the Star Armory is coming to a close. The Theater of the Seventh Sisters, who was hosting us, we were leasing from, is basically being forcefully removed from the Armory because of some code violations. That's not really their fault. They leased the building from the National Guard, who was in here before. Of course, the building hadn't been inspected since the 60s. And when the government was in the building, nobody cared that it was up to code, because the government doesn't have to abide by their own rules. They just have to create rules for others. But soon as the Theater of the Seventh Sister came in, somebody with an axe to grind went to an inspector, and they pulled out a bunch of code violations, like sprinkler systems and entrance signs and some electrical work. And basically all the line item after they came in and did their inspection, it was a couple $100,000 worth of work. The Theater of the Seventh Sister, in this day and age, it's difficult to raise that amount of money. They gave them like 3 weeks, which was a bit obnoxious. But as a result of that, the Theater of the Seven Sisters decided that they just couldn't cover that cost, so they had to shut the building down. So myself and 10 or 15 other local small businesses are put out of business because somebody had a political axe to grind. I'm not a big conspiracy theory guy. I don't like to get involved in that type of stuff. But it wouldn't surprise me if the building was bought by an investor very shortly after the theater leaves. But stay tuned. We'll see what happens. As far as how it affects us, we will be moving on to another location. I'm currently negotiating with two separate places and trying to decide. The one possibility is a pretty exciting possibility, and it's still confidential because they're still working out some details. But if we can go in there, there's some pretty exciting things coming down the pike for that. That could be really cool. So that's the update. So in the next month or two, along with the projects that we have coming up, at some point we'll have to move and build a new studio. So it'll be sad to see this studio go. It's a very vibey place, and everybody that's recorded here has had a great time, and it's a relaxed atmosphere, and we love it. But at the same time, I enjoy the challenge of looking for another space and building that, and new things. Um, you know, it's fun to get to be creative and to repurpose another area, to make music, and that's a cool thing. Daniel Lanois, who's one of my influences, he did this type of stuff all the time. Now he had a much higher budget, obviously, than I had, but they used to go into places and take tours of mansions or theaters or uh, barns or whatever, and kind of find the right place and just build it out to their uses instead of designing a fancy soundproof studio that's perfect acoustics. They would work with what they had, and I like that idea. That appeals to me. I like to work that way. So stay tuned for lots of exciting stuff coming up. Again, there continues to be exciting stuff with the Lancaster Recording Group meetings. There's projects coming up for a number of people and a number of new artists that we're working with too. But that's where things are at right now. If you would like more information on what we do here, forgottengenre.com. www.forgottengenre.com is where you want to go. We're also on Facebook. Look up Forgotten Genre Productions. And enjoy your time. Thanks.